Good evening, VV Nation. My name is Ryan and welcome to the channel. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day. The week is almost over, halfway there, right? Well, tonight is the big night. I am recording this pre-market. It's going to be Nvidia's earnings after hours. I know Glenn did a video on this last night, so I'm not going to touch on the subject too much over the last 2 weeks. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because I told you about 2 or 3 weeks ago, playing the semiconductors going into Nvidia's earnings would only work to our benefit. I released a short, I think it was a couple days ago, showing some of the price percentages, the gains there. A lot of those semiconductor stocks are up between 5 and 10% in that short span. So tonight's presentation, I'm going to bring to you a great strategy. I used it once back on Meta. Well, I found Meta using the strategy right before its earnings. I don't know if you remember that, 2 earnings periods ago where it jumped almost $100 into the 400s. The stock continues to climb. So in tonight's presentation, we're going to be talking about the Qs. That's right, the Nasdaq 100. I'm going to show you where to find value in the Qs so that way you can be profitable in the market. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the Qs and finding out what stocks have great upside potential and are undervalued currently in the Nasdaq 100, again, this is mostly tech heavy. There are other companies, but if you're interested in semiconductors, interested in big tech and some of the other big names out there, this video is for you. Now, in tonight's presentation, I will be utilizing the VectorVest 7 software. We are in the viewers tab here, and in particular, we're down at the Nasdaq 100 list. You can see here Nvidia at the top of the list. We've got Google, Melly, Netflix, Amazon, Meta Platforms, PDD, a lot of big names here. The reason why these companies are at the top of the list right now is that these stocks are actually ordered by VST, overall value, safety, and timing. This is not a bad way by any means to start selecting and cherry picking stocks from the Nasdaq 100. However, we're going to take it a step further because here at VectorVest, we do advocate buying undervalued stocks. So how can we find value in the Nasdaq 100? Well, rather simple here. First, we're going to start off by going to the sort. We'll change this to value divided by price. Now, this will resort the entire list, the Nasdaq 100, putting the most undervalued companies at the top of the list. Now, just looking at the list, we see some big names here. We got Picard, Warner Brothers, T-Mobile, Comcast, Lululemon's at the top of the list. So these are the most undervalued stocks. Now, the reason these companies might be undervalued is that investors just aren't that enthused about them. So we want to make sure that we get great stocks with high forecasted data. What I mean by that, over to the far right, we do have our sales growth rate and the growth rate in earnings. The simple strategy is cherry picking these stocks with high forecasted data. So I'm just going to go down the list and see which companies have double-digit numbers in both categories. If we take a look, we got Lululemon at the top here with a sell rating. Baker Hughes, we've Meta Platforms again in the list here, currently trading at $466. We valued at $576. So I'm going to put in the list again. I had great luck with it last time. We've got AstraZeneca, again, double digits on both sides, has the buy rating here. And another company I really like, Booking Holdings, along with Google, Adobe, and VRTX Pharmacy. So I think that's plenty to start out with here. Again, we're finding great companies. A lot of these stocks have buy recommendations. They all have double-digit sales growth and earnings growth. And on top of that, they are the most undervalued companies on the Nasdaq 100. So the next step is simply just going to be putting these in a watch list. Now, just looking at this list, we found some great stocks here. Make sure you stick to the end because we're about to go through the charts. I'm going to show you which ones I feel on this list are the best to choose from. I mean, we've got big tech names such as Google and Meta, Booking Holdings, some pharmaceuticals here with Vertex and AstraZeneca. We even got petroleum here with Baker Hughes, Adobe. I'm actually surprised on the list right now. It's undervalued. This is a huge AI play. So let's utilize the software to break down these stocks a little bit more. If we take a look at RV, this looks at long-term price appreciation potential. All of these stocks here currently have an RV above 1. So for long-term holds, this might actually just be a great list to choose from. Now, when it comes to safety, if you are a more conservative investor here, you would want RS above 1. We see majority of the stocks here on the list have a favorable safety rating. Only 3, being Baker Hughes, AstraZeneca, and PayPal, have a relative safety below 1. Now, when it comes to the RT relative timing, this looks at the short-term price trend. Stocks with a RT above 1 right now are currently in an uptrend and making the bulls money. You can see most of the stocks on the list have an RT above 1 right now. 2 stocks being Meta Platforms at 0.97, right on that cusp of a favorable trend. You have Adobe here at 0.73. You know, Adobe might be looking attractive. We'll take a look at the chart here. Lululemon's at 0.48. Sell rating has been given, so there's a lot of momentum to the downside. Might be a little early to jump in Lululemon's, but we're going to take a look at the chart here and see if there's any opportunities to be had. Now, the last thing I did want to mention, look, most of the stocks do have buy ratings in this list here, so you're getting value, you're getting that long-term price appreciation, and you're getting the comfort of the VectorVest 7 system, knowing that a lot of these stocks currently have buy recommendations. All right, we're in the charts here. The green line, that represents our valuation of the company. The lines we have here, the orange is a 3-day exponential, yellow 8-day exponential, and the 20-day exponential represented by the blue shaded line here, just to show trend is in our favor or not in our favor. Down below, we do have a growth rate in earnings and the sales growth rate. So taking a look at Google here, I mean, nice uptrend, all the moving averages in our favor. We see it undervalued, and over the last 3 months, the growth rate in earnings and the sales growth rate, both on the rise here. I mean, if you're looking for a Mag 7 stock or a big tech company, this might just be the play for you. Next up, we have Meta here. You see greatly undervalued, but look at the trend. The moving averages just are not in our favor, so it's a little too early for me to want to jump in the stock. I'd like to see the 3 above the 8 here. We see that price action looking at that 20-day exponential moving average almost has a level of resistance right now, so I'd like to see it break above it. And when it does, I wouldn't be surprised if that RT or relative timing goes back above 1 in favorable territory. Now, on top of that, the growth rate and earnings, sales growth rate looks phenomenal for the company. So Meta, keep on your radar. I think it might be a little too early to pull the trigger on this one, but this company still looks good going forward. Now here we've got Booking Holdings. I mean, this company's $3,800. So I know it's mostly out of everybody's price range here, a very expensive company, but if this company is affordable to you, look, undervalued, moving averages in our favor. This is the high right here. So we can take out this high on strong volume, just giving some conviction to the upside. This might be a momentum play for further upside potential. Now the growth rate in earnings is dropping off over the last 3 months. However, did end at 23% to the upside. Sales growth rate in the same situation, but still sitting at 17%. Now, Vertex Pharmacy, this one I'm really excited about. I mean, this pharmaceuticals is undervalued. We've got the buy rating, fresh buy rating here. All the moving averages in our favor, showing that momentum to the upside. And look, we're sitting right at a level of resistance here. So if we can break above this, it might be a great breakout momentum play going forward. And if we look down below at the forecasted data, growth rate and earnings and the sales growth rate, both on the rise over the last several months. Now we've got an oil play here, Baker Hughes. You can see a lot of consolidation over the last 3 months here, but greatly undervalued. And the valuation here is at $45, almost 50% undervalued. Price action to the upside again today here. If you're going to play this, we do have 2 levels of resistance at $33.77. We're sitting right at that right now at $33.68, and another level of resistance at $34.63. So I'd have some patience, wait for that breakout, give up that extra dollar just to get confirmation to the upside. Now here we have Adobe selling off over the last few months here. I drew a downward trend line. We see price action hovering right at that trend line right now, moving averages converging close to each other. The company is undervalued, which is nice. The earnings growth rate has risen over the last 6 months, while the sales growth rate remains relatively flat. Now this might just be a power play. However, have some patience for this company. We just want to see price action break above this trend line. I'd like to get a nice retest, a nice anchor for an upward move. Next up, we have AstraZeneca. I mean, this chart looks phenomenal. Nice lower left, upper right over the last 6 months. We see the moving averages in our favor here. We almost lost that 3 and 8 day. However, with yesterday's big body candlestick to the upside, showing buyers have control. Now it's currently trading at 78.33. I'd like to take out yesterday's high, just get confirmation to the upside. You can see it's greatly undervalued right now. However, my concern here is look at the growth rate and earnings drop from 24% down to 15% over the last 6 months. However, the sales growth rate is making up for that, going from about 6% to close today at 17%. Next up, we do have Lululemon, got the sell rating, Finally, the stock is undervalued right now, but that momentum to the downside is very strong. You see, it just broke this level of support. Now, with today's gap down, this still might be a good bearish play. We're seeing that momentum continue to the downside. Now, last up, we do have PayPal here, greatly undervalued company. I mean, the stock pretty tight trading range here, so I'd like to see a breakout either above $68, only about $4 away, or to the downside at 61. Wait for the breakout so that way get confirmation. Otherwise, you might get caught playing a little ping pong in this channel that we're seeing. Now, down below, we do have our forecasted data here. Growth rate on the decline, not too happy about that. And look at the sales growth rate, relatively flat. So as far as PayPal, not too enthused at this moment. All right, everybody, just want to say thank you for sticking to the end of the video. These are the stocks I see great potential here. No surprise, I mean, the Google chart looked phenomenal. It's a Mag 7, it's an AI play, it's undervalued, so you gotta love that. Now, Meta Platforms, I did put on this list. I'm not saying go out and buy it right now. I told you, wait for those moving averages, wait for that RT to get above 1. We're so close right now. That's what I'm saying. Put it on your radar. It could happen at any moment. Now, on top of that, I did put Vertex Pharmaceuticals and AstraZeneca in the list. Both of these companies look great right now and in an uptrend. Now, the last company was Adobe. This is an AI play. Adobe, a huge tech company. Now, the reason why I put it on the list, I mean, the company has been pulling back under a lot of price pressure. However, it is right at that downward trend line. So again, this is a great company not to go out and buy today, but just keep it on your radar. It can break above that trend line any moment. I'm looking for a nice retest on that trend line with some buying pressure, nice bottom wick showing that buyers want to be in this position. Now, if you found this video informative, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way I can keep putting stocks on your radar, keep you making money, and keep you on the right side of the market. Now, if you enjoyed tonight's presentation, make sure you hit that like button, and I'll see you tomorrow.